Smallville started in 2001 and became a smash hit on the WB and the CW, telling the origins of Superman and a story of two best friends, Clark Kent and Lex Luthor, who were like brothers but became bitter enemies. From romance to action, Smallville is a classic in its own right and set the stage for the Arrowverse. Smallville lasted 10 seasons, ending in 2011. We're almost 10 years in since we last saw the show. Just where would our favorite characters be in 10 years? So let's talk about each of the main characters we know and love and predict what they have been doing ever since. Clark Kent. We got a glimpse from the Arrowverse that Smallville's version of Clark Kent in Earth 167 was married to Lois Lane with 2 daughters and living on the Kent farm. Clark is no longer Superman and got what he always wanted, to be normal. We know that Clark had powers when he married Lois Lane in 2018, as we learn in the series finale of Smallville, so he had to have lost his powers shortly thereafter. There are a few possibilities of how Clark gave up his powers. Some say he was using blue kryptonite in his watch, or he used gold kryptonite to eliminate his powers forever, or he lost it through the fortress as was seen in the 1980 film Superman 2. Then there is an alternate theory we would like to present. Clark could have lied to Jon Cryer's Lex Luthor and never actually gave up his powers. Rather, he became so powerful that he was now immune to kryptonite. Smallville showed us that Clark was always evolving with his powers, learning to control them, and even forced himself to try to fight the effects of kryptonite. As for the multiverse, he didn't believe in interfering and felt confident it would be saved. For now, we aren't going to use this theory and continue on with the idea that Clark gave up his powers. However, it should be noted that we have no idea what year Earth 167 is in. Even though Lois mentions that Clark hadn't joked in a decade, when exactly did they have children? Did they adopt? Was it before their marriage? Did Lois have twins? Do half-Kryptonians age faster? There was even a toy in the crossover episode that didn't look like it was for infants. It may be possible that the writers didn't completely consider the canon of Smallville. Although there are many fans who are satisfied with the conclusion, there remains continuity issues with both Smallville, including its comic books, and Arrowverse, and one theory exists that the Arrowverse version of Smallville belongs to an alternate universe from the original Smallville, meaning that Earth 1 from Smallville and Earth 167 from Arrowverse are two different universes. After all, there was an Earth 2 in the Smallville series that had some parallels. Smallville showed us that Superman would go on to become a great hero who inspired the Legion in the 31st century. In the Season 1 episode Hourglass, we learned Clark would outlive everyone he loved. In the Season 3 episode Hereafter, Clark learns he doesn't have an end, and we see a glimpse of Clark flying with his cape till the end of time, which tells us that Clark is immortal. So in 2021, assuming the Arrowverse episode happened before that, we see Clark getting his powers back in the fortress when something terrible happens that threatens his family. Clark regroups with the Justice League. Feeling confident enough that there are enough heroes in the world to protect it, Clark continues to make time for his family. Lex Luthor. Lex Luthor, we learned in the Arrowverse crossover, was still president of the United States. He became president in 2018 according to the series finale of Smallville. Although he first campaigned in 2013, according to Smallville, we are going to assume that he won the 2018 election for the first time. When Clark was told in the Arrowverse crossover that Lex Luthor wanted to kill him, he looked a bit surprised and said he didn't know Lex was in town. It's our theory that Clark and Lex may have had a truce, and a truce is actually possible, as we had seen a truce in the Season 11 comics. Perhaps Lex learns that Superman became normal and feels that it's punishment enough and has no interest in him any longer. Once Superman returns, Lex is not happy about it. Even though Lex lost his memories in the series finale of Smallville, in the comic books he tries to find a way to regain them. But even when he isn't able to, he still has some intuition of his past. Lex enjoys being president and has a positive image worldwide, and although he always has evil intentions, he uses the Justice League whenever the world is under threat and credits them. He plays off as a humble president, and the people love him more for that. Lex never marries, as he finds that based on his own intuition of his missing past, he would never make a good husband. Lex, however, learned about his brother Lucas from Smallville as the last connection of his family, but Lucas wants nothing to do with Lex. Lois Lane. Lois is still a reporter for the Daily Planet, working remotely in Smallville to care for her children, and Jimmy Olsen gets a promotion helping her to find stories to write. Once she finds out that Clark has to become Superman once more, she feels sad about it that he has to give up the one thing he always wanted to be, normal, but understands completely why Clark has to do it. Lois discovers that during an excavation in Smallville, a new type of white kryptonite is found that kills all plant life and could threaten the world if it's in the wrong hands. Lana Lang. Lana Lang had left Smallville because of what Lex did to her and could not be around Clark any longer. Despite having superpowers, we learned that Lana in the Season 11 comics would lose her powers once John Corbin absorbs the nanites from her. Lana lives a normal life in Africa. Into 2021, Lana is working around the globe with efforts to help save people from COVID-19 through vaccines. She is currently living in South America and is part of the effort in the region. Chloe Sullivan. We learned that in the series finale of Smallville in 2018, Chloe, who lives in Singapore, had a son with Oliver Queen and tells her son the story of how Superman came to be. Her son, according to the Season 11 comics, was named Jonathan, and Clark and Lois had been chosen as his godparents. In the Season 11 comics, we learned that Watchtower was destroyed. Thereafter, Watchtower was restored on the moon. A fully fledged AI system is operating there. In 2021, Watchtower is rebuilt again and located in orbit of Earth. The AI system, however, becomes corrupted by an evil force, forcing our heroes to shut it down. Chloe returns to Watchtower to help the heroes one last time before the AI can be repaired. Tess Mercer. Tess died in the series finale of Smallville. However, she was resurrected in the Season 11 comics when her consciousness was downloaded by Emil, and she became Watchtower 2. After the destruction of Watchtower, Tess takes on a robotic body to become the Red Tornado. In 2021, the Red Tornado continues to save the world as a proud member of the Justice League. Martha Kent. Martha is retired as a senator and the Red Queen, and with Clark's blessings, eventually marries Perry White. Martha will always love Jonathan, but she never wanted to be alone. In 2021, Martha is 60 years old, living in Metropolis with Perry White, and is a finance professor at Metropolis University. She went back to school thanks to a vision of Jonathan, who tells her to finish what she was meant to do all those years ago when they first met in a finance class at Metropolis U. Pete Ross. In 2018, Pete Ross became the youngest Supreme Court Justice in history appointed by Lex Luthor. Despite his hatred for the Luthors, he believes it's best to stay close to Lex since Lex ran for president and won. In 2021, the Vice President of the United States announces that she would be stepping down after the next election, and Lex Luthor meets with Pete, asking him to be his running mate for the 2022 election. Pete agrees and starts a campaign. When Clark becomes Superman, he meets with Pete again. Pete tells him he'll always protect him no matter what. Clark appreciates it and wishes they could have stayed best friends. Pete says this path he is on is for the best. Jonathan Kent. Although Jonathan died in Smallville and periodically appears in visions for Clark, whether they're real or not, he continues to do so even after Clark lost his powers. Clark, sometime between 2011 to 2018, meets a Jonathan Kent from an Earth 3 when he hunts down a villain from that alternate universe who came to Earth 1. He learns that Jonathan lives in Earth 3 because Clark Kent in that timeline never went back in time to save Lana Lang, as he originally did in Earth 1 that caused the death of Jonathan in the first place. He also learns that Earth 3 Clark never became Superman because of that event. Clark was able to say goodbye the way he wanted to when he returned to Earth 1. In 2021, Jonathan in Earth 3 lives on, though he's unable to run a farm due to his health. Oliver Queen. Oliver is married to Chloe and has a son, Jonathan. In 2021, he is one of the leaders of the Justice League. Ollie continues to train new recruits as the leader of the Light Celtic Archers, a secret order that is different from the dark teachings of Vortigern. His disciple Speedy, who was part of the Teen Titans in the Season 11 comics, rejoins the Justice League. Kara Kent. Kara Kent, or Supergirl, in the Season 11 comics, was transported to the 31st century and eventually returns to the present as a member of the Justice League. In 2021, Supergirl had lost all of her powers when she was poisoned by kryptonite a few years ago, and although she knows she is slowly regaining her powers because of the sun, she becomes Linda Danvers and works for the U.S. Department of Defense. Did you like this future of Smallville? Tell us what you think about our take on Smallville 10 years later. Like, subscribe, comment below, and thank you for watching.